Welcome back to the 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. My name is Wayne Kimmel, managing partner of 76 Capital, the sports tech venture capital company. On this show, I interview top sports entrepreneurs, athletes, and executives who are shaping and many times changing the sports business industry. You can subscribe to our show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our 76 Capital website. Today, my guest on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show is Mark French. Mark has created, operated, and sold multiple businesses in the consumer goods, sports, media, and technology industries. Over the course of his entrepreneurial career, Mark has partnered with legendary co-founding partners, including Dwayne Wade, Serena Williams, Carmelo Anthony, Derek Jeter, and others. Also, blue chip investors have backed Mark with his previous ventures. Backing him in his latest venture, Don't Quit, is Madison Square Garden, L Catterton, Keurig Dr Pepper, and others. I can't wait to get into this and talk to Mark about all these amazing things. Mark, welcome to our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show.
Wayne, thrilled to be here with you. Obviously, we're good friends, but I love the podcast. I love the platform, so it's a real treat to be here.
I really appreciate you coming on the show. I mean, this show, it's all about, talking with people like you and other executives and entrepreneurs and athletes who have truly done and are doing the next thing. And you're one of those people. And let's just jump right to it. I mean, let's talk about Don't Quit and all the exciting things that are happening with that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a very exhilarating 7 days. So we were out in LA last week at the Beverage Forum. For you or anyone who's listening, if they're not familiar, Beverage Forum has really become the must-attend event in the beverage industry. So every major retailer, from the CEO to the chief merchant officers, every major investor, backer in the beverage community, and all the brands attend this event to really talk about the latest and greatest in terms of where the evolution of the industry is and what's happening and who's doing what. A lot of celebrity partners were there. Tom Holland, for example, Spider-Man, was talking about his latest beverage brand that he launched. So just an amazing event. And my team was really humbled that we were asked to announce the launch of our latest initiative, first to market, a protein soda. So we are a protein forward brand, Don't Quit. That 30% is owned by Keurig Dr Pepper, and a lot of amazing strategics on our cap table. But we have developed an amazing protein shake that is in the market today, that we incubated in Southern California last year and have really just begun to expand across the country because of some great results we had in Southern California. But with that, we've been looking to find ways to bring protein to consumers at all different day parts, not just a post-workout meal replacement, if you will. So we have an amazing cap table. We now have national retail partners, an amazing national media partner in iHeartMedia, that we're preparing to not only launch our protein shakes across the country, but our latest innovation, which, as I alluded to before, is the first to market clean protein soda. So it's really complementing what you've seen in the modern soda explosion with brands like Olipop and Poppy that have introduced gut health benefits. Our thesis, along with our partners and now these amazing retailers that have signed up to roll it out, is consumers are looking for more protein throughout the course of the day as well. So if we could develop a delicious, better for you soda that featured 15 grams of protein in a 12-ounce can, 20 grams of protein in a 16-ounce can, we thought there would be quick adoption, but we haven't seen adoption like this in a long time. So amazing retail partners from Walmart, Albertsons, Vons, Pavilion, CVS have already signed up to roll this innovation out with us. So it's been an amazing week, but now we're just scrambling to make all this product for our launch on the 4th of July.
That's so exciting. Congratulations on where you are with this. I mean, look, I'd love to take our viewers and listeners kind of inside maybe the making of all this, right? I mean, you make it sound like these retailers, they signed up. Well, we know what that really means, right, Mark? I mean, you're an entrepreneur, you're a serial entrepreneur, you're a hustler. I mean, you're out there really making things happen all the time. How does it really happen?
It's a great question. I mean, it starts first and foremost by listening to your consumers, right? So for us, we wanted to do a lot of research in the markets where we've had a lot of, strong presence. For us, we really incubated in Southern California, and we asked the question, are you drinking modern soda? Yes. If yes, why? And we also asked a lot of our current consumers that are buying our protein shakes, if we had another offering with classic soda flavors and a carbonated beverage had really never been done before. Is this something you'd be interested in? So we then took that same question to our retail partners. Look, if we could crack the code and actually make a delicious tasting modern soda that featured protein, is this something that you would want to potentially introduce to your customers? And it always comes down to taste. So there was enough there for us to say, let's get in the lab and see if we can do this. And we began that process with some amazing partners in the beverage industry, from Macro Cap, Sense It Pure, Ball, who's obviously known for, they make all the cans, Resource One to make the right labels, and CTI for the technology that we actually feature in the can. And we just started collaborating behind the scenes for 3 months. Now, 3 months, that's a very fast time to have an idea and get it at a place to present a beverage form for the entire industry to taste and put in front of retailers for them to then turn around and say, we want to bring it to market. So for us, it started with research, and then it was getting in the lab, what's the right amount of protein that it becomes, we use the word memory less. Now, you would think you want your product to be so memorable, but with beverages, you want it to be really good, but you don't want it to have an aftertaste. You don't want them to have the overpowering flavor of protein. So how do you make a delicious tasting beverage that becomes memory less, but something that somebody wants to drink multiple times a day? So for us, it was leaning into those classic soda flavors. So we're launching an orange soda, a grape soda, a root beer soda, and a fruit punch soda. And, we would do a ton of testing with not only the partners around the table, but consumers in the marketplace. So for us, we knew there was a there. And then when we tasted it and iterated, it just kept getting better and better. And with that, we took it to a handful of, amazing retail partners of ours that were running or selling our protein shakes. That made the decision, hey, this is doing so well in Southern California, we want to expand it. We brought it to them first, right? And wanted to get their initial take. And Albertsons, Vons, Pavilions loved it and said, yeah, we want this on shelf for all of our health conscious consumers. And we want to put it right in that modern soda set. So when people are looking for that healthier, better for you soda, there's going to be the first to market Don't Quit Soda protein. So that's kind of the process. Did that answer your question, Wayne?
It did. And I'm really curious. So you said grape, orange, root beer, and fruit punch?
Yep. Those are our 4 launch flavors that will be in market here this summer.
So can you describe, it's really interesting what you said. Like, you want it to be memorable, but not too memorable. I get it. I really understand. Like, you don't want some aftertaste in your mouth after it. You want it to be really good and you enjoy it and you want more. But what does it taste like? Can you describe that?
It tastes like your classic favorite Keurig Dr Pepper soda. So for us, like a Crush orange soda, or even a Hawaiian punch, fruit punch, or your favorite root beer flavor. For us, it's IBC. It's really remarkable in terms of how great the taste is. And in today's marketplace, consumers are more aware than ever the need to bring in more protein, right? So there's been nearly a 15% increase in terms of just protein sale in the ready to drink. So that's in our category, protein shakes. 84% of consumers want more protein in their diet. And there's been a 3x increase in conversations on social media just about protein. You're starting to see protein in everything, right? one of the Kardashians, Khloe Kardashian, recently launched a protein popcorn. And there's a lot of reasons for that, right? So GLP-1, Ozempic, consumers need more protein. People are just more familiar than ever. The health benefits with protein, you don't always know what that is in modern soda, right? When you talk about gut health, people don't really understand what you need. Most people know you need to consume basically the same amount of grams of protein in your diet a day as much as you weigh. So people have a good sense of that calculus. But when you look at the modern soda set, it's next to protein, the fastest growing category in beverage. So to really merge those two, bring them together, is something we're really excited about and bullish on. But yeah, from a taste perspective, you would never know when you're drinking this that you're getting 15 grams of protein in just a 12-ounce can. It tastes phenomenal. Again, with those classic soda and fruit-forward flavors. It's all about convenience, refreshing, easy to digest. Like when you think of protein shakes, it's typically, you think it's like heavy. This is literally just like sipping on your favorite diet soda. No artificial flavors or colors. And what's really neat, Wayne, in the can, we partnered with CTI, the same group that makes the mountains in the Coors can turn blue. We developed a protein meter in our can. So you can actually see on the can how much protein you're consuming per can, which is great. So the packaging looks amazing to really just kind of match that great taste.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, so I was actually going to ask you, how do you know how, other than just what it says on the can, how much you should drink? I mean, do you have something where it's like drink 2 or 3 cans of this a day, or is it
Yeah,
something like
we're
that?
not there yet. I mean, this is really what's amazing about this is you can sip this with your meals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at the Beverage Forum, we gave out 2,000 cans while people were drinking it with their lunch. So it's just getting that added protein in your diet to help you get closer to those macros that you're trying to accomplish. So it's not a meal replacement. But I can tell you, I'm sipping on at least 3 of these a day. They just taste delicious. And you don't even realize you're drinking protein.
Well, we got to get some of that, here at 76 Capital for our team, to make sure we're drinking the good stuff. That's so amazing. I mean, I love that you talk about sort of the technology behind it, right? I mean, and really the chemistry and the how that all works. I mean, it's not just like throw a little protein powder, a bunch of carbonated water, and some flavors, right? I mean, this is complicated. This is really technically complicated stuff.
Very, very, very technically complicated. In fact, there's a patent on how to get whey isolate protein into a carbonated beverage that we're utilizing. It's very, very hard to do. Macro Cap Labs, our partner, are really the only folks that can do this. So to not only make it one time, but to manufacture it is a challenge in itself. So finding the right strategic partners to develop it and bring it to market was key.
You mentioned Keurig Dr Pepper as a partner in this. How important it is to have? How important it is for you and the Don't Quit brand to have someone like Dr Pepper, that company alongside of you in this journey?
It's such a superpower benefit, if you will. So. They're, the first investors in the brand. Their goal is for us to build it and scale it, which we're pretty good at in terms of, the partners that we have around the table. But then the ability to distribute it and ultimately manufacture it to make the flavors taste right. So, we're leaning on experts within that organization to help us on that front. So, no, we're really appreciative and humbled by their support.
You mentioned another really important word, certainly in the beverage and world, is distribution. Talk a little bit about that and how that's done. I mean, like, you think about, you sort of step back and you whether it's a grocery store, a convenience store around here, a Wawa, right, or a 7-Eleven, and how do you get on those shelves, right? Because right now you have a lot of your traditional brands, and how do you kind of get that slot on the shelf?
Yeah, beverage has one of the highest infant mortality rates of any industry. And there's really a couple of barriers to success in beverage. And Wayne, you might remember, I was on the board of directors of an L Catterton portfolio company, which was a beverage company called X2 that had amazing professional team adoption. But it wasn't getting retail distribution. And there's a variety of reasons for that. One, if a retailer is going to put your product on shelf, they're going to have to take somebody off. And they want to look at data to see that you've got results, that it's worth taking the risk to put you on. So one, you have to have the relationships with those retailers for them to even take a meeting with you. Two, you've got to have some success in a market to prove that they should take somebody off the shelf to put you on. And three, you need to have gotten on those shelves, to your point about distribution, to give yourself a fighting chance. So my partner in this, Danny Stepper, who's literally a lightning rod in the beverage industry, he was part of the team behind Body Armor that was sold to Coca-Cola, Zico coconut water, which he also sold to Coca-Cola, Core Water, which they sold to Keurig Dr Pepper. And then after that, Keurig Dr Pepper said, hey, what's your next idea? How can we partner together, right? So Danny's superpower and his relationships with the retailers. So LA Libations, which is his firm, is the emerging beverage category captain at all the big retailers. So what they will say at an event like Beverage Forum is, there's 300 new beverages that try to come out a year. We don't have the bandwidth to meet with all of them, but LA Libations does. And they will kind of meet everybody to see who's going to check those three boxes that I just alluded to before, has a great differentiated product, has good results in a test market, and has the ability to get it distribution. So all of those strategic acquisitions that I alluded to before that Danny was part of, they all had a route to market partner, whether it was Keurig Dr Pepper, Pepsi, Coke, what have you. So having distribution is critical. And it's not just Keurig Dr Pepper. We have an amazing partnership with KeHE, which can get you to, for example, supermarkets, right? A lot of retailers want to go direct these days. So we have the ability and infrastructure to ship direct to retailers. But that's a key component of, finding some success in the beverage space.
You've throughout your career have collaborated with world-class athletes like Dwayne Wade, Serena Williams, Carmelo Anthony, Derek Jeter. The list goes on. How are you able to develop those relationships? And what's been sort of the special sort of, it's been the thing that's enabled you to be able to have these relationships and have success with some incredibly successful athletes?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. They're all successful athletes, and what do successful people do? No matter if they're athletes or entrepreneurs or operators, they're tenacious, they're competitive, and they jump at opportunities, right? I think if you look at any of the athletes you mentioned, they were all tenacious in their different worlds, on the field, on the court, but also in business. Really humbled to be working with another icon right now in Damar Hamlin. So when we merged two brands together and inherited the brand Don't Quit, it's just such a strong rallying cry. Dave Cohen, who in the world of sports marketing, my CMO, he and I, we're literally taking a hike up the mountain after we did the merger, and we're now going to be working with Keurig Dr Pepper. We said, how do we bring this brand Don't Quit to life? And we just kept coming back to this word. It's about fueling perseverance, with our products, with cleaner, better for you products. Everybody has a don't quit story. It's not just one, female or male athlete. Everybody has that moment where we've been knocked on our butt, but it's about getting back up, right? If you look at our logo, it's about peaks and valleys, right? It's you're going to get knocked down, but it's getting back up. That's the most impressive and inspiring aspect to our brand. Damar was just kind of the perfect icon. And Kenley, when we first incubated this, we didn't know if he was going to play again. but it just speaks towards that level of perseverance. So, I put DeMar right in there with that list of amazing athletes that I've been fortunate to partner with. And, to answer your question, I think it really just comes down to, honesty, transparency, and integrity in everything that we do, that we try to do. Like, all of these startups, they're risky ventures, and we all need to know, what we're getting into. And I think if you're honest and upfront versus saying this is going to be a $10 billion company, nobody knows that. But if we execute and we surround ourselves with the right partners, like in this case with Don't Quit, we've got Keurig Dr Pepper, Madison Square Garden, L Catterton, Sweetwater Private Equity, iHeartMedia, Solico Capital, the most recent partner you might have read about in Sports Business Journal, who's leading our current $15 million round. These are all great investors that have done similar things like this in the past, whether in this industry or different industries. And I just try to, just the sports analogy is I'm a pass first point guard. So I just try to get myself around amazing scorers. In a lot of cases, the athlete could be, the scorer that helps us, build the brand and scale it. Or it could be, LA Libations, another one of our amazing investor partners who is scoring every day by knocking down these retail partners and relationships. So I think with the athlete partners that you mentioned, it's showing that there is a pathway, and that we're going to bring a lot of other star power around the table, not from a celebrity perspective, but people that have answers to the test, for lack of a better word. They've done this before and can help us scale and emerge.
I think it's really interesting, that you selected and Damar Hamlin agreed to be part of Don't Quit with you. I mean, because he embodies all of that, right? The fact that he was able to not only get up, but then play again is unbelievable. It's an unbelievable story. When you spend time with him quietly and you just get a chance to talk with him one-on-one, I mean, what's he really like, and what does this brand really mean to him, and everything that he's gone through in his life?
Yeah, I don't say this lightly, and I say this with all sincerity. He is one in a billion, not just because of what he went through. You want to talk about integrity and having perspective on life. Damar had that before his accident. If you just read anything about his upbringing, who he is as a person, but going through what he's been through, every moment matters. And it's actually something I learn and take away from him. When you ask the question, I was with him Thursday night. I was actually an amazing experience. I was able to present him with an award for all the amazing work he does in the community. And he was doing that before he got hurt, which is fascinating. He didn't start a foundation when the celebrity light was put upon him. He started in college. So he's the real deal. And from an entrepreneur perspective, he really gets it. So we created his signature flavor, our cookies and cream protein shakes that have quickly become our top selling product. And he was in the lab with us, and you could actually see it on our social. We documented it, but he wanted to test it with all of his teammates, people in his community, until we nailed the product. And to make that product without using artificial ingredients, really hard to do, and make it taste great. But Damar, like us, wasn't going to quit, pardon the pun, until it was just right. So no, he's an amazing partner. He was with me Super Bowl week when we sat down with the chief merchants of the top retailers and had these makeshift cans of the first attempt at protein soda. And he and I were talking about the other day, just that reaction, just to see that moment of creating a category and creating a new dimension of our business. He got it, like every other, seasoned entrepreneur, that it's a moment and we got to lean in. So we were spending a little bit of time at the gala just whispering to each other about, hey, we should do this with protein soda. Hey, we should do that. So he's amazing.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I mean, and you mentioned, again, all the other athletes that you've worked with across your career. I mean, I have to mention, I mean, you started I wouldn't, maybe not your business career, but in your early days, I mean, you were a New York Knicks ball boy, right? I mean, how did that all happen?
Wayne, I don't know when this is going to air, but tonight is a huge night. Knicks game 1 against the Celtics, coming off a impressive win against the amazing Detroit team. No, it's actually, I joke, it's the best job I ever had. Mark Jackson was a mentor of mine right when he was a rookie with the New York Knicks. Actually, he's been a very, very dear friend and an advisor of mine all these years later. But being a ball boy in my formative years, I was in love with the game before then, but it just took it to a next level in terms of just going back to, your question, like, what are these people like, these athletes? I saw that at a young age. These were men who were giving everything to their craft. And I mean, you couldn't have asked for better role models at such an influential age, from Mark Jackson, Patrick Ewing, John Starks, who all remain, good friends and, again, mentors. And it's definitely been a backbone of some of the luck that I've had. But I went into the media industry after school, worked with NBC Universal, was fortunate to build, really my first startup, my first big business on my own. So, Wayne, I was the jerk that came up with the idea to put the TVs in the back of taxi cabs and TVs on gas pumps, which eventually became NBC Everywhere. But kind of just, developed my entrepreneurial chops doing that. I couldn't get arrested in the building at NBC with that idea out of the gates, but just tenacious like any other entrepreneur. We build it, we scaled it, and then next thing you know, it's across the country and we've got our own division. But
they made the mistake, or maybe it was genius to let you in the building to go run around and try to mix it all up.
Yeah, I joke all the time. It without a doubt was like my master's. Like I give so much credit to, the success that I've had to that experience with NBC Universal. It was just a remarkable learning experience for me. But I had in the back of my mind while I was at NBC a problem in the game of basketball that had never been solved, that just wouldn't go away. And while with NBC, and we were doing all these technology deals really before the phone became the phone, but delivering moving content to moving taxi cabs with geo-targeted ads and geo-targeted content was a big feat at the time. So GE owned NBC at the time and had what was called the Peacock Equity Fund. And they said, hey, why don't you be an advisor to us? Like, run your business, but if you see things we should invest, let us know. And we'd love your point of view on a lot of the deals that we're looking at. So I saw a lot of business plans, and I saw some really good ones, but I saw a lot that I'm like, I can't believe this group has raised $20 million for this venture that wasn't really solving a problem. And it just kind of stuck with me. Like, whatever I do, I want to solve problems. Like, I'm not great at doing me too. I want to do something new and different in an existing category, whether that's clean and better for you ingredients. But for me, in the back of my mind, from my days when I was a ball boy to playing basketball, was just slipping and sliding on dusty courts and always spitting in my hand, wiping the bottom of the shoe. So I started moonlighting while working at NBC. I hired a couple of chemical engineers. Again, like we did with protein soda, did a lot of initial market research. Is slipping and sliding on dusty courts just a problem for me, or was it something that actual other potential customers cared about? The results were off the charts. And really, because of those relationships, was able to get to Dwayne Wade, peak Dwayne on the Miami Heat, for him to test our little product that we had, not even in bottles yet. We literally had them on paintbrushes, which eventually became Cork Grip. And yeah, that was kind of the first real partnership with an athlete at Dwayne's level, which was remarkable. And my partner, Josh Shaw at Mission, we really started to scale that. and brought in some other athletes that you had mentioned before, the Serenas, the Carmelos, Drew Brees, and just started creating more and more products, which was a great experience.
One of the things that we talk about a lot on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership show is leadership and what that means, right? I mean, when you think about leadership and all these incredible leaders and role models that you've been around, what are some of the traits that you think you need to have to be a successful leader in the sports business industry?
It's a great question. I start with humility, and really leaning into best idea always wins. So surrounding yourself with people that think differently than you is really important, and having a diverse group of opinions and thoughts has been really important to me, and best idea always wins. So I think that's a critical component of being a good leader. It's also listening, right? So if you aren't willing to listen to your consumers, your retail partners, your employees, you can make a lot of mistakes. It's also, listening to your investors, right? So people that are betting on your concepts, it's being open and listening to their expertise and their opinions. Speed is really important as well. So that means to be efficient from a leadership perspective. So, don't say something in 2 minutes that you can say in 10 seconds. Be very efficient with your time, but make sure you're constantly listening. And then, protein soda is a perfect example of all of those, of listening, but don't be slow, move fast. So candidly, protein soda out of the gates, when we had the concept, I was I don't know, we've got to focus on our current business plan. We've got to execute. And I don't know if we're going to be able to make it taste good, because I consume a lot of protein, our own products, and I've tried everything on the marketplace. But it's willing to listen, right? So my head of product development and operations, Chad Cunningham, is just an unbelievable operator, who's usually the disciplined one of no, let's execute. Former Army officer, West Point grad, he is all about process. But it was him saying, "Hey, Mark, I don't know. I think there's something here." Also, listening to the Dave Cohens of the world and Adam Beer, my head of finance, who was at Olipop, that was saying, "Yeah, wait a minute, man, we might have something here." So, and then moving quick enough. That was the talk of Beverage Forum, is the fact that we were able to do this in 3 months. And that all came down to process. So not just my team, we're working with 7 companies to try to pull this off, from the labels, the cans, the manufacturing, the flavor house, the patents on the protein. So in those environments with big Zooms, you have to be organized. You got to be able to listen, but be organized and efficient. So I think those for me are kind of what keeps me on the straight and narrow.
That's a tremendous answer. And as we wind down this episode of our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show, again, Mark, this has been awesome having you on the show. We're so excited to see, the Don't Quit soda on shelves all across the country. And, I guess, look, I mean, I think maybe you'll answer this however you want to answer it. And I always like to talk about, what's the future look like? What are the trends across sports, media, and technology that are really excite you? And then where do you see the next big disruption? But maybe we just answer with protein soda. Is that the simple answer here?
I think, look, it's always going to be, innovation is always going to win, right? Meaning in the world of sports and consumer goods, look, bring it to athletes. Look at the 40s today compared to where they were, right? If you start looking at stats, in our world, being a health and fitness, better for you sports nutrition brand, it's just looking at where the consumer is and where they're going. People need more protein. There's a lot of health benefits to having more protein. So for us, we want to just stay in that lane. being a better for you protein first product offering. So whether it's a post-workout shake, which is going to give you a lot more protein, 33 grams, or just any day, anytime, complimentary, hit your macros protein soda in a delicious manner. That's what we're going to be focused on. And if we could do it with amazing partners like Damar Hamlin, that's great. And we're going to continue, to add amazing partners on that front. But no, I love sitting and talking to you, Wayne. I learn as much as hopefully I'm sharing.
Well, I know we could probably go on all night here, and it's pretty awesome. And I wish your Knicks a lot of luck. I wish you a ton of luck with your Don't Quit, soda and overall brand and everything you're doing with Damar and the rest of your team. Best of luck, and thanks so much for taking time and joining us on our show here.
Thank you, my friend.
On behalf of the entire 76 Capital team, thank you for joining us for this edition of our Sports Leadership Show. Please remember to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast network or on the 76 Capital website. You can also explore the hundreds of episodes we've produced over the past several years on those same networks. And as always, go out there and make it happen.